The holiday season is known for bringing family and friends together and creating happy memories. But for some, holiday memories are surrounded by tragedy.
This month, we will be sharing one unsolved missing person story every single day. We hope sharing their story will help bring them home for the holidays. December 17th of 2009, Elizabeth Johnson and Logan McQueary went to court over son Gabriel Johnson's custody arrangement. The judge granted joint custody of this sweet little 8-month-old baby Gabriel. Elizabeth was not happy about sharing her son with her ex, so she decided to defy the judge's order and skip town with her son. Her first stop was San Antonio, Texas. On December 26th of 2009, Logan went to pick up Gabriel from his mother so he could keep him.
Is it like for the weekend, I'm going to assume, or something?
I think it was actually for a week because they have
Oh,
joint,
it is
it's like half and half,
Christmas.
and
Yeah.
it was Christmas, yes. It would be baby Gabriel's very first Christmas, and he was scheduled to be with his father. Logan arrived at Elizabeth's house in Tempe, Arizona, only to find no one home and most of her stuff gone. Logan received a text message on the 27th from Elizabeth that stated, "I killed him. You made me do it." And I continue, this is verbatim of what she said in these text messages. "You will never see Gabriel again. I made sure of that. And you can spend the rest of your pathetic life wondering about him."
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Logan would report him kidnapped essentially to police, but police tell him that she has joint custody of him. So the only thing that they can do is once he finds where Elizabeth is, they could go and arrest her and get Gabriel back. But that's really all they can do when it comes to these domestic custody arrangements. 8 days after Elizabeth took Gabriel, she sends Logan another text message from a phone number that Logan didn't recognize. It was about a week after Elizabeth took Gabriel. She sent Logan a text message from a phone number Logan didn't recognize. This message stated, "You will never find me. I'm already boarding a plane out of the country. When I'm safe, I'll email you the exact location of Gabriel's little blue body if the garbage don't come first."
This woman is
Oh,
a psychopath.
yes. After Logan receives this text message from a number he doesn't recognize, he calls it. All right. And he actually recorded them talking, which is amazing that he did that. So he says, "You didn't hurt him." And she says, "Yes, I did. I suffocated him and he turned blue. And I put him in his diaper bag and I put him in the trash can." Elizabeth boarded a bus in San Antonio headed for Florida on December 30th of 2009. She ended up being arrested in Miami Beach for kidnapping. So I'm assuming she used a credit card or something and they were able to track her and be there when she got off the bus in Miami Beach. She did not have Gabriel with her. She was arrested for kidnapping, custodial interference, conspiracy to commit custodial interference, and child abuse charges. Elizabeth then changed her story and stated Gabriel was with a couple she met in the park in San Antonio. And this was a part of an underground adoption ring. This was all directed and organized by another woman named Tammy Smith.
Let's go back to these charges here, though, before we continue. Was
Yeah,
she, what, with given those text messages that she sent, conspiracy to commit murder wasn't one of them?
nothing of that sort at the beginning. Yes.
Okay.
So she tells them, like, she just made all that stuff up because she wanted to hurt Logan, and
There's other ways to do it. Text him that he's a piece of crap and a terrible father. No, don't say I've murdered your baby.
yeah. Oh, keep his car if you need to. So she's brought back to Arizona, and this is what she says about this Tammy Smith person, because at first I'd be like, this is totally made up. Sounds like Casey Anthony and the nanny situation, but Tammy is a real person. So, Elizabeth and Tammy met at the Indianapolis airport 6 months before Gabriel went missing. I cannot for the life of me understand how these 2 complete strangers, how one of them will approach another person, but apparently Tammy said her and her husband would adopt her baby. And they just meeting at the airport. Elizabeth has Gabriel with her, but they're not, like, fleeing the area or anything.
Okay, so I have all the questions. Did they talk, beforehand and agree to meet at the airport, or they were just casually both in the airport and she walked up and was like, "Hey, you look like a single mom that may be having a rough time. We would love to adopt your baby."
So, everything that I read, they just met at this airport, like, for the first time met. Now, I don't know if it was that they actually had conversations before and they agreed to meet at the airport, which why would you meet at the airport? That's, like, the hardest place, worst parking.
And you'd have to buy a ticket to even get past
I
security.
know.
And also, if it is just she walked up to somebody and said, "Hey," walked up to her and said, "Hey, my husband, I would love to adopt your baby." Call the police immediately. I called the airport 911 over stolen queso.
Yes.
Someone
No,
comes to me over asking to adopt my baby, that's a whole 'nother level.
a whole 'nother level. Know
I'm
how
not making it up. I called the police over my stolen queso,
you gotta do what you gotta do for that queso.
right?
I
It's
know. I
Qdoba.
don't know the logistics around their meeting, but it seems freaking weird if they did not know each other or had no communications prior to this airport meeting. At that time, I guess Elizabeth didn't want to put him up for adoption. I don't really know how that conversation went, but it would be 6 months later in December that Elizabeth would call Tammy and ask if she was still interested in adopting baby Gabriel. It's a lot to unpack. There is a lot. Logan would say Elizabeth wanted to have an abortion. She did not want the baby. And she would say throughout the pregnancy that she wanted to give him up for adoption. However, Logan was, no, I'll take him. I will be his parent. You don't have to. And then he ends up being born and all this happens. They find this Tammy Smith lady and they charge her with forgery and conspiracy to interfere with Gabriel's custody. Now, there are a lot of details in what Tammy did, but one thing was she put her cousin's name on the line that said whose Gabriel father was. She put her cousin's name. That way she could have her cousin sign giving the baby up for adoption and just leave Logan completely out of the entire equation. That's one of the things that she's charged with.
Okay.
She would eventually apologize for all of the pain and suffering she caused. She stated, I never intended to hurt anybody. I pray every day that Gabriel is alive and that he is found. Very weird. So, a man by the name of Ken Gamble, he was a private investigator and he was hired by Logan's family to search for Gabriel. And he this Ken dude believes Gabriel is alive and was given away or sold by Elizabeth to a couple in San Antonio. Gamble said he has evidence that there is a third party group that it had arranged this adoption, which, in my opinion, allegedly, Tammy fits the okay.
Mm.
That's not all that makes these people think that this is an underground adoption ring because out there, there's apparently adoption experts, and they actually stated the Homegate Hotel, which is there in San Antonio, and it's the hotel that Elizabeth stayed in. This is known in the adoption circles. A lot of adoption agencies will put the birth mothers up in this hotel and for them to the paperwork so that they can also the babies or the kids can meet with the new parents. So it's known to be a hub for legitimate adoptions, but also underground or illegal adoptions. So the birth mothers will bring the children, they meet in a public place to initially start. The hotel is not far from the park that Elizabeth would state that she met this couple at. There's a few photos of Gabriel taken at this home gate hotel, and these were found on Elizabeth's phone after she was arrested. In a couple of them, he is seen holding a medicine bottle, like him, the baby, holding a medicine bottle, possibly infant Tylenol, They didn't know for sure just because the picture's not angled very well.
Mhm.
In the photos, he appears lethargic and his eyes are half closed.
Oh, no.
Yes. Such a bizarre case. Apparently, there are reports of a babysitter as well, babysitter of Gabriel's, that told authorities Elizabeth told her that she had given Gabriel some medicine and to give him more if he became fussy. So this is while they were in San Antonio. This babysitter had no idea that Gabriel had been kidnapped by his mother or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
So could he possibly have died from an overdose of whatever medication she was giving him? Or did she really suffocate him? Or did she get involved in this illegal adoption ring? So many
Did
questions.
anything come from this illegal adoption ring? Were they able to disband it and charge everyone involved with that?
I don't think so. Tammy, the person that supposedly, allegedly is part of this ring of adoption, like, she would be involved in it. She barely got charged with anything. She was charged with just conspiracy of interfering with the custody agreement and forgery because she signed someone else's name on the adoption papers for Gabriel. But she says it never went through, and her explanation for the whole forgery thing was, oh, that she was just helping Elizabeth out and she accidentally put his name in the wrong space.
Oh,
Well,
convenient.
yes, there's interviews and you can actually watch her on stand at a trial as well, and I'm just like, I do not believe that lady at all. So, Elizabeth Johnson was convicted on lesser charges of unlawful imprisonment and guilty on 2 counts of custodial interference. She was sentenced to just over 5 years in prison, but she had already spent about 3 years in jail awaiting trial at this point, and they really released her right after that for time served. She was released and started a new life, and as of 2021, she was pregnant with a baby girl. She's completely changed her name. On the paperwork that was filed for her new name, it stated the reason was for stalking and harassment. I wonder who that could be. Maybe
Because she murdered her child.
yeah, or gave it away, like, the only reason I think that is just because the private investigator that's working with Logan's family all of this time says that he thinks he's alive and that he was given away or adopted, given away, because it's not a legal adoption, so that would be given away in my mind.
It's human trafficking in mine.
Yes, exactly. Authorities are still investigating Gabriel's disappearance as a kidnapping and possible homicide. They stated they believe Elizabeth probably killed her son, and they are considering filing murder charges against her once they have enough information. Gabriel remains missing, and his case is unsolved. They went, which I didn't put this in there, but they ended up finding an area of the landfill that had items from that hotel, and they searched all through that area thinking, "Okay, if she would have put the baby in the trash at the hotel, they might be able to find it." And they searched the landfill and nothing ever came up.
Oh my god.
Yes. He's 13 years old now.
See? This Tammy Smith person, maybe there's other people on the other side, the receiving side of this that make it feel like this is a legitimate adoption. I'm sure people can fake that paperwork easily,
I
and
agree.
maybe whoever has him was also duped.
Very
And
true.
let's hope that they are giving Gabriel a better life than he was gonna get with his mom. And
Yeah.
I hate it for Logan because he's been searching
Mhm.
for his son for years.
Exactly. It was one that I was like, "What the ever living hell?" As a mother, I can't get it. I don't know. But
I
that's
just can't imagine being that manipulative either to think about doing that to your child enough to where you send a text message to the father about it.
yeah,
Whether you like him or not, you still have to envision doing that to your child to be able to write out those words.
yes, I agree. I completely
Oh,
agree.
yep.
But this lady took it a whole notch up and absolutely insane.
Let's hold out hope that whoever did adopt Gabe, if that's the way this went,
Mhm.
they hear this story and they genetic genealogy reunite Logan and Gabriel.
Yeah, so if you were in the San Antonio area, possibly at that particular hotel,
Mhm.
and you adopted a baby boy around 8 months old. So this would have been around probably December 27th through the 30th, because the 30th, she actually boarded the bus of 2009. Please let authorities know.
Yes.